Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Pace, and welcome back for everyone who is already a subscriber to the channel. If you're not already a subscriber to the YouTube channel, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now, a Pittsburgh MMA pro undefeated champ now, a legend with so much more to do in his career. Super excited to have Steel City Lucas Seibert back on the show. Champ, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, man.
Part of the intro is also to say that you are the new 247, the new 247 fighting championship, a bantamweight champion of the world, and the first. I guess I was right on saying it's the first because it was bantamweight.
I think so.
But when we're talking about it, I guess I'll just jump in to the history question before we get to your actual win, because I thought that was a big deal. You've mentioned it. I know 247 has mentioned it. So for people that don't know, you now as a pro champ for 247 became the first ever pro champ who was also previously an amateur champ for 247, which really shows your longevity with the, fighting amateur and then pro with 247. What does that mean to you, making that history for 247?
It's cool, man. It's kind of wild. I mean, I won that belt only a little over 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of, had it in we always had it circled, trying to, win a pro belt, win a 247 belt. And, I wrote it down at the beginning of the year and it happened.
Yeah, you are always incredible with the mental preparation and game, as well as the physical side. You are now 6-0 as a pro. Obviously, your amateur career is stamped at 5-0. That can't change. And you're 5-0 in the 247 cage. You do have one win in your pro career for LFA. So obviously, you're super high ranked with Topology. You're the number one pro bantamweight in Pennsylvania. It looks like top 6, top 5 in U.S. Northeast for Topology at pro bantamweight. That's out of 100. And of course, you're also nationally ranked top 60, it looks like, if you go off Topology. You knew coming into this, you had talked about your opponent, Terry Bartholomew, having a lot of experience. I think he had almost 3 times the number of pro fights as you did coming into this fight, something right around there. What are your thoughts on him now that you fought him, and then we'll get to the fight itself?
I mean, we knew he was going to be tough. We knew he was going to be a tough guy. He's fought some very, very highly ranked guys, guys with good records. And, it was exactly the fight we thought was going to happen. I truly think I have some of the best coaches in the world. Me and Will put together a game plan, a video game plan, and I just go out and I execute. And I executed, I'd say, about a B. I won. 15-minute fight, stayed the course, stayed focused the entire time, and I give myself a solid B.
I think that goes towards, again, the mental preparation. You and your coaches, you represent stout Pittsburgh, as you've talked many times on this. Because you've talked about it being a 15-minute decision win, I also often point out on this show that decision wins in many ways are more impressive because you have to control all of it. Like you have to stay sharp. You could get caught in something with a minute to go, and just ask Anderson Silva. Chael Sonnen fighting Anderson Silva, right? That's a great example.
Either of them.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great example of how that can happen. Did anything stand out in the fight? A moment or moments that you remember as far as going by the game plan, some strikes or some tight takedowns? It was a unanimous decision. You won everywhere. It was a very clear victory, but just wondering from your perspective.
I think Like round by round, a couple things that stuck out were like first round. We knew he was going to be investing those calf kicks early, and we wanted to counter with them. And throw stuff down the pipe with my hands, and I had to eat a couple calf kicks to get the timing on it. But as soon as I did, I, it started to work. And then in the second round, a lot of it was controlled by me on top. Um, I actually worked a lot of the stuff that me and my coaches, that first round was a lot of me and Will, and then the second round was a lot of me, Warren, Mike, and seminar taught by Sean Williams, who was one of Warren's instructors. Uh, Owns a gym in Nashville, one of the most highly regarded jujitsu uh, people in the world. Honestly, he came in and taught a seminar like 2 weeks before my fight, and we were able to take a lot away from that and use a lot of it in the fight, especially in that second round. And then the third round was really when I thought I was going to finish him. I believe I was very close a couple of times. Came out, missed that flying knee by like a couple inches, and really poured it on. Had a Darce locked in. Um, could have finished that if I would have gone against the cage rather than trying to sit to my butt for it. Wrestled up, finished strong. Went for the darts again. Went mounted triangle, and then just instead of trying to finish the triangle, just elbowed his face off in the last 15 seconds, and ended the fight screaming at him with blood pouring into my belly and Chip laughing at me. So it was a good little it was a good fight, man. It was 15 minutes focus against a dude that has nearly 20 professional fights. I know his coaches were very impressed with me and said I seem like I've gotten a lot better. I've improved. So shout out to them. That means a lot. I actually want to reach out to them, kind of figure out what their game plan was for me, so I can kind of reverse engineer that and work for, you know, myself, and how to kind of like how would you beat yourself, and you know work through that with my coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's really great to see that. I know you've been on the show a bunch. I've been following you since you're an amateur, and what's nice is that the team Bauerhouse and your opponent, it's the fight business, but there's respect. There's mutual respect. Some of your opponents, it's been much more personal, much more heated. So it's kind of nice to see that, and that's what happens sometimes, where this gym could become almost like a friend gym in the sense of people and people that give feedback to you. And it goes a long way. I don't think people always know I get the opportunity to come in and interview you in the cage, but those little moments in the cage when there is respect shown or when there's disrespect shown after a fight, when the fighter goes over to talk to the other, those really matter, and those send a tone. I know your coaches are always good at that, and his coaches were. So it's kind of nice. Those little moments can sometimes be missed, but they can really matter, in the fight business. And obviously, you've got a lot going forward. Now, with where you are always talking about the goals you write. This is almost the end of 2025, the goals you write. What do you see, predict, write out for 2026? Not just the next fight, but I know you go several goals ahead. You were talking in your amateur days about what you were looking to do. So, kind of your thoughts in reflection on what you did in the year of 2025, and if you want to share what's kind of on the plan for 2026.
I mean, looking back 2025, I wrote I wanted to step up in competition. I said I wanted to win 3 or 4 fights. I was booked for 4 at one point. Had to pull out of one due to an injury. But I had 3 fights, fought on UFC Fight Pass. Uh, my opponent's combined record was 19-10, which is pretty impressive. Considering I'm on the regional scene, and won all those fights, didn't lose a round. Um, and then, competed in some grappling matches, tapped Lucas Bird on UFC Fight Pass, competed against a PFL fighter, Mondo Gutierrez. You know, great year. Great year. A lot to improve on, a lot to get better on, but I'm happy with hanging my hat, on 2025, and really proud of my performances, and proud of my ability to step up in competition, not waver whatsoever. My coaches, investing more in me, year by year, and just believing in my crazy ass dreams, and just being along for the ride. And then 2026, man, I'm gonna have to lay it out, like really, really sit down and be intentional about everything. But the goal is, and it's been I've since I got here, since I started fighting. I said I'll be in the UFC in 2026, and it looks like that might happen. So do what I need to do to get on Contender Series in 2026 or be ready for a short notice fight, and punch my ticket to the UFC, and not be a guy that's just going to go there for a couple fights, be, ready to be a top 15 guy when I get into the UFC, and let the world know who I am.
Yeah, it's a super big honor for me to see all this coming together. And even though your amateur 5-0 record goes away when you turn pro, I do look at everybody on Dana White Contender Series, and I do think for something like that, or a late replacement like you were talking about, they kind of do look back because your amateur was perfect too. So it builds the undefeated in MMA status, which can help, as far as some of the UFC when they're making decisions. So you already had a great fight for LFA, like you mentioned, and I think just like what 247 has been able to show with their pro champ, their first ever pro champ, went to the UFC in common with the Death Star Worthy. Their second pro champ went to PFL. You're obviously their third, MMA pro champ. So I think it shows that's what 247 really wanted to be able to do, is have their title, have their belt mean something. And obviously you're probably just a wonderful, great example because you also had your amateur debut for them. So that would be another kind of development thing for them, which I think is great. I'll be a fan and supporter. Hopefully, I can continue to have you on as whatever your next fight is, whether that is a short notice fight for the UFC, a contender, or who knows? Because I know you are. I mention this at least once every time because I really respect the fact that way back in your WVU days, you were studying sports psychology. So understanding that part of being a professional athlete, which you're doing a great job at, isn't just how you physically train, or you do that so well. It's the mental prep and the goal setting and handling the difference between internal locus of control, what you can control, and accepting that there's going to be things outside of your control. So many athletes and just humans burn themselves out with anxiety, depression due to external locus of control, fixating on things they can't control. So I'm always impressed by the mental development that you're doing, and that means a lot to me and just what I look for. So it's absolutely awesome. Just the biggest of congratulations. If I could ask, because this is not officially your last fight for 247, you never know. There could be an opportunity. But so far, since this is just before 2026, a bit reflective as we wrap up, for you, what has stood out? You fought some other organizations as amateur and pro, but what has stood out as your favorite memory or memories for 247? You've literally started before they had the venue. Now you headlined and got your belt on the third venue card. Like, what stands out within the 247 world? Obviously, you had other great fights outside of that. I'm just curious because you have two belts right behind you on the shelf there from them.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, the special moment. I actually like have. I'll just grab it.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of have them like all separated. Oh Jesus, how do I switch this?
Uh-oh.
I got it.
Man.
Like walking out with the little kids
Mhm.
thing. These are my gloves for my pro debut. I got the Ammy title here. It's from high school, and then the pro title. So I think just like there's special moments in all of it. Um,
Well, there's
it's
a
cool to
Fighter of the
kind of be
Year
able to
award.
like
And then you have a Fighter of the Year award. I just saw it down there, the 247 Fighter of
that's
the Year
actually a
award.
high school. That's a high school wrestling award. My dad has most of my stuff.
Oh, okay.
I usually give it to him, but I do have three fighter of the years.
Mhm.
Probably gonna have a fourth after they do the awards this year. But just like I kind of every fight's different, and I take away a lot of you know different things from each, and like the memories, and it'll be
Mhm.
cool one day to give to my kids and
Yeah.
Talk about when I was a badass, when I'm, got a beer gut and shit.
Well, that's one nice thing about the technology of streaming and digital media and all that. Your
Yeah, it's true.
highlights and your fights, your full fights, currently now on 247 Live or LFA or UFC Fight Pass, wherever you become a UFC champ. There'll be tons of videos to back up the stories that you're going to tell in the future. It's always an honor. You mentioned, and this is great because I've been honored to be a part of the annual 247 fighter awards every year, which is just a really cool thing. And that is kind of fun to look forward to, usually in early
We're
January.
putting we're putting a petition in to name it the Lucas Seibert Fighter of the Year award.
Okay, is that something you've run past Hunter and Ryan, or you just?
I talked to Hunter about it. I think we should call it the Steel City Fighter of the Year, and I should hand it out because I won it 4 times, assuming I won it this year, which
Okay.
I should.
Oh, well, no, hey, listen, I love it. That's why I like talking. I like that award show because it gives. I mean, every gym, your gym had two wins, I believe, as gym of the year, and so it becomes a really, like you mentioned, becomes really Pittsburgh focused gyms, fighters, events, knockouts, wins, comeback. There's comeback of the year, which is always exciting. So yeah, and a Steel City Fighter of the Year award would certainly, handed out by you, would certainly be exciting. You know,
I'm just saying.
but that is super great. Well, what a great way to look forward to the future, both to see what happens for in January for the 247 or whenever they do the 247 Fighter Awards. It's just been super great to have you back on the show. People I mentioned it, 247 Live. People need to get that subscription if you don't already have it. What's really cool about 247 Live is you can literally watch every fight Lucas, now double champ, amateur, and pro, has fought. You can search by gym. You can watch every fight Stout Pittsburgh fighter has had. You can watch every fight he's had. You can sort by all different things if you get the year subscription. It would be a great way to kind of watch all of your fights within 247. Thanks so much for coming on. I get to end with a big flourish. The first 247 fighter to ever win amateur championship status and then pro championship status. The 247 fighting championship. Bantamweight pro champion of the world, Steel City Lucas Seibert. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
You're the man, champ. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Take care, champ.
Take care.